Hi YouTubers, it's Irene. Let me just check. Okay, we are filming. Okay. How you doing? Um, my husband and I have just taken a big trip and damn it. And I just want to share it with you. I'm having a little Pellegrino here. It's not beer. Anyway, we went on a fabulous trip. Went to see a lot of sights and a lot of places. We've been gone for over 2 weeks. And we just got back. It was just marvelous. We drove from South Carolina. We stopped off at North Carolina, this little restaurant that we love, and we stopped there for a bite to eat for dinner, and then drove on to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and we had a great time there. We ended up in some place way up in the mountains, and there were bear around. We saw bear, we saw a coyote, we saw deer. It was unbelievable. They were all around the place, and it was very exciting to be around all that natural wildlife. One mountain I saw, you could see the whole top of the mountain was burnt off from the wildfires, but the cities of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, they seem to have done okay. And then we left there and we went over to Arkansas. We went to Mountain View, and it was a week after their big shindig. It was raining. We still met the nicest people there. It was just incredible. They were so sweet, very kind. We stayed at a lovely place, and we made the best of the bad weather. And then we kind of took off from there. And where did we go? We left Arkansas. We went into Missouri. And I wanted to go see Bonnie and Clyde's apartment. So we went over to Joplin, Missouri, and we went to see Bonnie and Clyde's apartment, and we took pictures there. We could see. I took a picture of the last bullet hole that's remaining because apparently the owners patched it up. That house actually was for sale about a year ago, and I remember showing it to my husband, and I was like, you want to look into this as an investment. And he just was like, no. But what was really interesting was the layout of the apartment facing one road. The house is facing another road, and then there's an alleyway behind it. So when the cops were shooting at them at the apartment, they went out the back and jumped in the alleyway, jumped in the car, and took off, and the cops still thought they were in the house. It was very, very interesting. So we left there, and I wanted to drive through the city a little bit because of about 3 years ago they had that EF5 tornado, and I wanted to see how badly the damage remains after these years have passed. And you can see, I mean, there's like houses, then empty spot. So you could see that some houses were repaired. You could see some of the repairs. They weren't, done probably by the master, but they were done. And then other places, it's just leveled and nobody's rebuilding. And other places were recently reconstructed and they look fabulous. So the town seems to look like it's in a state of repair, even 2 or 3 years after that horrible, horrible tornado. So, I'm fascinated by the weather and stuff, so I enjoyed seeing that the people were doing okay. And then we left there and went into Missouri. We were going to go to Kansas and Oklahoma, but we decided to turn around. We'd also been to Nashville. I forgot to mention that. There's so many places, I can't even remember them all. We went to Nashville and we went to Memphis. But anyway, we left there and we went Arkansas, Missouri. We went we went into Kentucky, and we stayed there for a little bit. The place we stayed at was a gorgeous park, and we really had a nice time there. We were looking for certain sights to see, and I don't think there was much there, but they had the greatest barbecue place, and it's called Moonlight. And if you're ever in Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky, you got to stop by Moonlight Barbecue. It is fabulous. It is really great. I think it's about $15 a person, all you can eat. And, you know, you're pretty much guaranteed your pants will not be buckled when you leave. So we left there and we went through Illinois and Indiana, and then we went back into Kentucky again. And I can't remember what we went to see in Kentucky. Oh my gosh. If I don't have the pictures in front of me, I can't remember all the places. But we went back into Kentucky, Louisville? No, I don't know. But then we left there and went into West Virginia. And we went up to the Mothman Museum and we saw the statue. We took pictures there. Interesting story. I don't believe it, but that's, it was fun. We left there and we went, let me see, we went West Virginia. We stayed there again. I can't remember what we stayed. So many places. And then West Virginia, we went back into Virginia, and we stopped up in North Carolina. There were a few places that I wanted to see. The Kerner's Folly House was amazing. I know Adam the Woo did a video on it. The video can't even begin to explain how detailed and how technical and how crazy the house was. We got a picture of my husband's head is actually touching the ceiling, and because I'm only 5'4", there was space. And apparently the builder, Mr. Kerner, he was, I think, 5'4" too, so he didn't see any reason to keep all that space. And in the children's rooms, the ceilings were even lower because he built it just for the kids. But what I found interesting was that I was told that he used the house as a sample, and he used all different types of architecture, like cutting moldings and framing windows and cornices and fireplaces. He did all this. He did. He had made drawings of tiles that he wanted around the fireplace. Magnificent. It was just really beautiful. But essentially, the reason he did all these crazy things to this house was because he wanted, number one, he wanted the house for himself because he built it before he was married. And then he had reconstructed it after he was married and then after he had kids. But he was doing it because he wanted to use it as a showcase. Like, here, this is my house. I can do this. You see how I do this, And he had furniture with, like, I don't know what you call them. You know how they used to make, I guess, like a china closet of some sort, but without the glass. And then it has these poles holding up the shelves. The poles had carvings of lions in them. It was amazing. And then the woman told us about some fancy outhouse that they had out in the back, and we went to see it, and it was just a brick outhouse with a seat, and that was it. I don't know what she said. It was a very fancy one. Perhaps it was for the time, but it was just a brick house with a toilet here, and then there's like a walk-through room in the middle. And they had no doors on it. They probably rotted through the years. So we left there and we went to see, I wanted to see the giant shell station. It's like one of the last ones, and it's an actual shell. And that's in Kernersville, North Carolina. So we went to that. And then we went over to, I think it's in Greenboro. We saw the giant coffee pot, which I had not any idea how huge it was. I think it was like as tall as me. It's so big, but they have it on a pole, and when you take a picture of it, I tried to take a picture of it, and it's behind me, and it's so tall, you can't even see the height of it, but it's tremendous. So I went to see that. That's like the world's largest coffee pot or something like that. So we left there. and we went up to, oh, we went up to Pilot Mountain, and they have a campground up there, which we went to, and it's really for tent dwellers, but we have a small travel trailer, so we were able to get into a spot there. It's really not made for trailers. I mean, we could get away with it. We're self-sufficient, but you know, you're not going to have anything. You don't have electric, no water, no dump station, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And it's just you in the woods, and it's kind of rugged. It's rough terrain because you are on a mountain, but you get to see Pilot Mountain, and it's just magnificent. I've never seen anything like it. So I took a bunch of pictures, and that was really fascinating. And then we went to Mount Airy, which was the site of Andy Griffith's show. And we walked down the street, and they had Floyd's Barbershop and Wally's Auto Mechanics, and it was great. And then they had Andy's car. Was it a Comet or something? And he was driving down the road. And the people were so nice. It was so good. And they have a big theater there, the Andy Griffith Theater. And people were lining up around the block to go in there. And you know, I mean, I still got this thing on my leg here, and it's kind of a bummer, but you know what? It's better than sitting home. So anyway, we left there, and we went to this restaurant called Dairy-O, and Dairy-O, I think, is a chain restaurant in North Carolina. I'm in South Carolina. I've never seen it. So we went over to Dairy-O, and they have this giant milkshake. It is huge. It's like 30 feet high, and then it has straws sticking out the top of it. And so I said, well, you know, that's the world's biggest milkshake. So I'm sorry, that was my dryer. It's the world's biggest milkshake. So, you know, we'll take a picture in front of it. So we did. And we grabbed a milkshake and left. And then we went over to, on our way home, we decided to go to Schuler's Barbecue in Latta, South Carolina. I'm going to tell you, if you're ever in that area, you're near south of the border or whatever, just put in your GPS for Schuler's Barbecue. It is amazing, absolutely amazing. It was so good. And I think it was about $13 or $14 a person. And all you can eat, and it's not junk. I mean, it's really good food. There was another restaurant we went to. It's called Pop's Barbecue, and I'm thinking it might have been in West Virginia. No, not West Virginia. I'll have to get back to you on that. But anyway, this Pop's Barbecue is hands down. It's crazy amazing, and the chef. You know, he came over and started talking to us, and he said, come here, I'm going to show you my smoker. And he brings us over to this big square box, and he opens it up, and there's all these pigs laying there, and they're all being smoked. And he says, some he smokes depending on the, you know, the piece of meat. Some he smokes for 24 hours, other ones he smokes for 48. And that's how he gets the most amazing pork. So we kind of had a little bit of a pork fest on our way home. But hell, you know, you got to live. So anyway, we're back home, and we're just settling back in, and I have to go away. My husband's staying home, but I have to fly up to New York, and so I'm sure I'll have some internet to be in touch with you, but I just wanted to say hey and let you know we just had a big crazy vacation. Thank God I took pictures because it was unbelievable, and it was a lot of fun. And this is exactly what I wanted to do when I started RVing. One thing I didn't expect maybe was how much I love being outdoors in the woods. It's really nice. Anyway, I hope you're all safe, and I look forward to talking to you. Take care. I'm sorry this was so long. There was so much to say, though. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.